Very good morning to everybody. We are very much proud today that Department of English of Dhaka Ravindra University Mahavidyalaya is going to organize a national level seminar today on the topic contemporary Indian writing from interdisciplinary perspective. So this is a very interesting topic. At first, I want to welcome Professor Gauri Shankar Jha, Department of English, Ranchi University, from the core of my heart on behalf of the college, and he is the keynote speaker of this national seminar. I welcome Dr. Babar Malik, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Varnasri University. He is very much young and energetic. We are very much proud that he has come from a so long distance from Nadia district. We have among us our departmental head, Professor Lokikanta Rai. He is the heart of the department. He will go into superintendent. So there will be a great loss to us, and he is very much encouraging to the young teachers of the department. I am very much thankful to him. I must congratulate other teachers like Tushar Sarkar, Srimati Shomita Mollik, Omika Prasad Jondigrami, Kullan Babu, এবং Payal Madam, Piali Madam, for their constant inspiration to their students for organizing such a grand seminar. I am congratulating my beloved students from core of my heart for their devotion for organizing such a national level seminar. I hope today's discussion will be very much beneficial to our students. So with these few words, and my dear non-teaching staffs of this department and other teachers coming from other colleges and the people presenters who are coming over here, I am welcoming all those. So with these few words, I want to conclude my few words.
Thank you, sir, for your resourceful deliverance regarding the relevance of this seminar that is going to be held. So as you all know that we have that kind of paucity of time, so at the beginning, according to the normal customary, we would like to officially inaugurate this seminar. So I would like to make a humble request to all the dignitaries on the dash only to come in front, as it is a new mode of this kind of inauguration, such as watering the banyan tree. So sir, please come and inaugurate officially this seminar. Boys and girls, just come up here. Let's begin. Now, the seminar is going to be inaugurated officially with that auspicious hand watering the banyan tree. Thank you once again to all of you. Now after that, we are also coming to the next session that is another part of this gracious or our occasion. As you all know that we have got our distinguished guest as well as our principal, departmental heads, honorable speaker from other academic fraternity and from the home institution. Now I would urge our departmental girls only to felicitate with our hearts content to those dignitaries. At the very beginning, I would ask those girls who will get ready very quick in succession to felicitate our Honorable Principal Professor Montu Kumar Das with a rose bouquet along with our cordiality from the part of the department and all other accessories which have been arranged only for this felicitation program. Please share.
ছবিগুলো খুব কাছে এসে তুলতে হয়। Yes, sir.
Next, the lords are felicitating our departmental heads, respected Professor Lokikant Roy, with all the accessories of this proceeding. After that, Dr. Bapin Malik, Purnasri University, we would like to offer a flower bouquet, Uttorio, and a chandelier to extend our heartfelt gratitude towards him. Thank you, Chair. After that, Mrs. Rumba Chakraborty from the Department of Philosophy. Thank you all once again. We have completed. As we know, that our respectable principal who has so many involvements, today there is another seminar that is going to be held by the Department of Pol Science. He would have to go over there to inaugurate this seminar. Shah has given us the precious time. We are really grateful to him. So for the time being, we would have to leave our principal. Thank you, Shah. Now, just next, we will come to that particular point of time where all our academic learners, both from UG and PG, they are actually waiting with their bated hearts only to hear a few words from our head of the department, HOD Professor Lokikant Roy. I would like to make a humble request to say a few words towards the audience.
It is one day national seminar and speaker here, Professor Gauri Shah from Ranchi University and Dr. Bapin Malik from Bihar College and B.R. Ambedkar University. You know that other dignitaries, Rumpa Madam is there. Our colleagues, Prasanto is there, Kollan, Ambika, Piyali, Shomita, everybody. And I appreciate that they have arranged that kind of seminar with their entire effort. And this is very appreciable. You know that this seminar, I am pragmatic because if you say that different truths of a seminar, like based on different truths of studies, different truths of traveling and so on, so on. So seminar, very important truths, interaction with the students, along the speaker, interface discussion and dialogic narrative. These are the fruits of a seminar, very important. And our time is very short, discussion is long, but there must be, I would request Prasanto that after the speech, there must be some discussion between the students and the speaker, because otherwise seminar should never be fruitful. There must be some question answer, and whatever you have learned and whatever you will discuss along with free. A seminar, you know, this is the outcome of a seminar. And department will arrange seminar because you know that seminar, library reading, class teaching, it is gradually becoming primitive, dead and obsolete. Students are now more important, they are ahead in notes and net. Because only for notes they are collecting notes and they are for net. Nothing more than that. A seminar is very important because from the seminar outcome comes. I think our departmental colleagues will arrange at least 2 seminars in a quarter. Otherwise, there will be maybe from nearby colleges, nearby universities, whatever may be, the speaker must be there. And there must be some seminar. And I hope that today's seminar, whatever there will be the outcome, paper has been presented, total abstract, a souvenir must be published because that will be recorded. And a souvenir, what will be the abstract that paper should be there. Whatever the arrangement has been there, record will be there, a souvenir must be there. And college will, it is a governing body is there, member. Yeah, I think college will bear some expenses for this, for the benefit of the students, for the benefit of future students of the college. Because seminar is very much important for the students. For they will come out from the shakiness, and there will be direct interaction between the speaker and the teacher and the students here. So I think again I extend my thanks to my colleagues Prasanto, Sangita and Piali Kollan that they have arranged for this. Bapin Mollik is there. Once after time, Prasanto has said me that please make a telephone to Bapin Mollik so that he will come. And therefore I personally requested him to come and to make the seminar a fruitful one, so that students must be benefited from the seminar. And a seminar should not be for showcasing and getting bucks from that. That is not the seminar process. Seminar is a continuous process for the college, for the academic enrichment for the students, because there is PG also. You know that PG department in philosophy, in English, in history, and so on, so on. So if a college runs with PG, there must be some, outside or outcomes from the outside universities and so on, so on. There must be some, for honor students and PG students, there must be such kind of seminar, national, international, or even one day seminar, whatever maybe, local arrangement must be there for this. And I hope that speaker is there and there is schedule for Professor Gauri Shankar, you will hear, and then Bapin Mollik will be, paper presented will be, everybody will know how many papers have come and what is the abstract of the paper, students will know. And at least, I request students, at least 4 or 5 students must come out and they will ask questions to the teacher, the speaker who is here, so that there must be some interaction between that. Therefore, the seminar will be fruitful one. I extend my thanks to the principal of the college who has come here, and for his another schedule he has come. He has gone from this place because his initiation is very much important. Governing body members, their initiation is very much important. Our students, almost our hearty students are here. They are. I welcome everybody because without your presence, the seminar should never be a fruitful one. So I extend my thanks, affection to everybody, all my students, and I think that today's seminar will be a grand one and a fruitful one. Thank you. Professor Jha is online, virtually Professor Jha is there from Ranchi University, and I hope the first speaker is Professor Jha. I I extend my special thanks to Professor Jha because he has joined this seminar from outside University, from Ranchi University, and he has extended our call and his cooperation. For his cooperation, I extend my personal thanks. Thanks from the department and thanks from all colleagues and students of English department of this college.
Thank you, sir, for your scholastic deliverance. Now for the time we have been anxiously waiting, because in the seminar, all of us, we are present over here only to listen to our keynote speaker who has consented to be present virtually from different states, as you know. For his brief introduction, I would like to introduce you all with Professor Dr. Gauri Shankar Jha, former professor and head University Department of English, Ranchi University, as well as he was actually occupying as Dean, Faculty of Humanities, Faculty of Social Science, Dean Students Welfare, Director, and I2SC. Apart from all his achievements, Sir has number of books and plenty of journals which have already been published in some international levels, winning this wide recognition. So Sir is also waiting for this scholastic deliverance. At the very beginning, I would like to extend from the part of English department, Dhaka Ravindra Samarashri Mahavidyalaya. We are really grateful only to have you share among us, though virtual mode, and I would also like to express my further gratitude that we would be enlightened as well as enriched whenever we would come to know your scholastic deliverance. Thank you. Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me? Professor Jha, can you hear my voice? Hello, sir. Hello.
Sir, can you hear us, sir? Sir, can you hear us? Hello? Hello, sir?
Hello, sir. Can you hear us?
Sir, can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes.
Sarkar.
Sir. Yes, sir.
I have to speak now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sarkar. Mr. Sarkar.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir, you are
I am
absolutely audible, sir.
Hello.
Absolutely, sir.
Hello.
Sir, you
Yes,
are.
sir. You are audible.
You are audible?
Yes, sir.
We are audible, sir. We can hear your voice.
Now,
Please.
the platform is yours, sir. Go ahead, sir.
So I should start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I should start, is it?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Namaskar to all the college family, the entire college family. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Audible.
I'm okay. Okay. So, very good afternoon. Namaskar to the entire college family. At the outset, I would like to thank the principal and the organizer for inviting me to this auspicious occasion of national seminar. And the topic of the national seminar, that is contemporary Indian writing in English, interdisciplinary perspective. This topic is very much relevant today, and this topic is somehow to be discussed and deliberated thoroughly. This is something that I feel, and you also feel like that. So, before coming to the interdisciplinary concept, let us try to know how this Indian writing in English started, how it began, So, am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, absolutely, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then I should continue.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first thing is that you should know how this Indian writing in English began. Then this growth and development, and thereafter comes the question of interdisciplinary perspective. Okay. So you see the first reflection of Indian writing in English, that is in the late 18th century and early 19th century. And the first book that we have that came in 1794 in the form of a travelogue. The name was The Travels of D. Muhammad. Okay. Now you should not be surprised to learn that Indian writing in English started with something like an infant, a small child. And what is the process of a small child of learning is that they go on imitating. So our old writers, the first generation of writers, they started imitating the Britishers, the British poets, the British writers. That was the first thing. And you know, this imitation is never a very original thing or very appreciable thing. And that is why, you see, it has been given a derogatory form, and you have one critic like George Cortomelli who says that the writing, the poets, the first generation of poets are something like Matthew Arnold inside. Isn't it? So, the very first thing is that they started imitating the Buddhist style, the Western style, the Romantic style. And you should not be surprised to learn that the first generation of writers is almost all from West Bengal. So Bengal played a very important role, a very significant role in the growth and development of Indian writing. Okay, so you see, I gave you the name of the Travels of D. Muhammad, and this was written in the period in British period, and that book published in 1794. And the first novel that came, that was by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, that is Raj Mohan's wife, that came in 1864. So that is about the earlier thing. But you come to the Datta family. There is a Datta family. You have Turu Datta and Togri. Now this Turu Datta is a very brilliant writer, very ugly. She left India and tried to settle in Europe, tried to learn everything from Europe. And you want to spiritualism, and you have the flute player of Vrindavan, you have songs of Radha, and so many things. Now, when you come or when you move a little ahead, you will find the first generation of the free writers. You must be acquainted with that book, very small book, Kanta. It was published much before your independence. Okay? Now, if you read Kanta, you will find that this Kanta is nothing but mini India. What is mini India? It has everything. It has all the equations, all the social programs, the voice of nationalism, the voice of freedom struggle, the voice of British imperialism. So all those things are there. So the writers, even before independence, they were influenced. Yes, they were influenced by Western style, but they started inculcating their own Indian values and ethos and what was essential for Indian society. what was essential for this Indian society, and they came out of that stigma of being indicative or being colonial. So the indicative period is over, and now you have R.K. Narayan, you have Raj Anand, you have Raja Rao, all the three writers raising different problems of society. And those problems have nothing to do with the Western style or Western thing, nothing. And when you move to the post-independence era, you will find the reflection of modernization, you will find the reflection of globalization, and you will find the reflection of social change. And now when you talk of this interdisciplinary, when you come to this modern age, we are essentially we are multicultural. We cannot stick to one culture. We cannot stick to one dimension. So, interdisciplinary is something natural that has come to pass. So, that is the thing that we must keep in mind, that we are moving far ahead of being engaging or being colonial or being something innovative. We are far ahead. Now, not only that, if you come to Mundra, if you come to the works of, say, Anand, Mundra, you see there is one word, untouchable. What is this untouchable? This reflects, this focuses the problem of that particular time. The social structure. The status of women, the status of lower caste of people. What is this? This is something that reflects true reflection. And then you have R.K. Narayan with Swami and friends, and then you have Kantapura, I told you, of Raja Rao. So that is something that you have in your mind. Before moving to interdisciplinary phase. And then when you come to the modern age, you have a conflict between modern scientific growth and traditional rural growth. So all the time there is a sort of conflict. There is sort of conflict. The tradition that is continuing and the obsession of the modernity, the obsession of the scientific age. Now, if you come to this present age, I am talking of social inequality. This is also being caste and social inequality. We are talking of social justice. This talking of social justice is very, very much relevant today, and it is very much there in our literature in English literature. Then another thing that we find is environmental concern. Environment, we are conscious of environment. And if you go to the Indian scriptures, Sanskrit scriptures in Vedas, we talk of Santi Stuti, Santi Stuti is all related to nature. Now, we have realized the present generation that this environment, so you are talking of eco-criticism, you are talking of eco-feminism, no, all those is equal. And then this urbanization and morality is there, morality we are aware of this. So what happens is that while talking of interdisciplinary approaches, we talk of sociology, means what is there in society, plus or minus. The influence of political science, what is happening in the political field, what is happening in the women empowerment, gender consciousness, we call it gender studies. Then another very important thing is that of cultural studies. So, we have all these things there in the present Indian English life. Now, as I told you that all these things, identity and diaspora, post-colonialism, globalization, gender and feminism, caste and social, all these things you will find in the writers of the present generation. For example, writings of Tarun Gurigar, writing of Amitabh Ghosh, writing of Salman Rushdie, writing of Jhumpa Lahiri, Chetan Bhagat, and so and so. Now you see, there are certain new terms that have come. When there is a flow of literature, when the journey is in its full form, you find certain sort of experiments. For example, magic realism. Magic realism, it came with some mouse. Okay? Then you have narrative experimentation. Then you have multilingual influence system. No? Multilingual. No. You go to the regional language. No, regional texts are being written in say Kannada or Marathi or other languages, and they are being translated into English. So that is also a very important step that has been taken while talking of multidisciplinary. So we must be conscious of, while talking of identity, we must be conscious of the writings of Meena Tejaswami, Yasir Dutt, Manoj Gupta. Then when we talk of Jhumpa Lahiri, when we talk of migration, diaspora, globalization, we talk of the text by Jhumpa Lahiri, Sanjeev Surta, Deepa Amatra. Then women's voice we find in Avni Joshi, Burma, Anita Meyer. Then another very important thing is that we start talking out of table what is happening to the sexual identity of a particular section of society. Particular section. Then political thing is also there, and class conflict. Class conflict is also there. So in sociology we talk of caste, urbanization, religious conflict, gender roles. In political science we talk of protest literature, nationalism, resistance, state control. While talking of gender studies, we talk of feminist narratives. Then while talking of environmental studies, we talk of eco-fiction, climate change, sustainability in literature. When we talk of cultural studies, we talk of diaspora, we talk of hybrid identities, and then comes to media artists. In between comes the media artists. So these are the few things that we should know while talking of the interdisciplinary status of Indian writing in English. So that is something that I wanted to give you, and it is not that I am teaching you or I am just trying to preach or give you something else. It is something that is known to you. You know all those things. Just have a brief chit chat with you, and just have a company of you, and I am very grateful to the organizer, to the principal, and to the entire college family for providing me such a golden opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, Sata.
Thank you, sir, for your scholastic deliverance. We are really enlightened. Just a brief. We are really enlightened with this scholastic lecture.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Also, it is all over.
Okay. So just wait.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So, once again, thank you, sir, from the heart of our hearts. We are really enlightened with your scholastic lectures that has been delivered like this. Within a brief span, you have covered the new frontiers of Indian writing in English with the advancement of technology as well as science. form of this continent, it will spread all over the world. And now we have come to realize the essence of such nomenclature, Indian writing in English, that has spread all over the world. Thank you, sir, once again. We are really grateful that you have given us the precious time only with us, and in future we are looking for such kind of deliverance from your part, sir, so that it will be benevolent to us. Once again, thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
I'm leaving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Our pleasure, sir.
Okay. Now, just as you have seen, I am using these words you have seen. Although I know that whenever any resource person, he is on virtual mode, you cannot actually find him physically among you. Because physical appearance, that obviously makes an impression at the first hand. But you have found so many important areas that are widely opened with this new horizon of contemporary Indian writings. That's why it is not confined to a certain academic fraternity, but it has covered a wide range of multidisciplinary practices. So we have already paid our hearty respect to Professor Dr. Gauri Shankar Jha. He was among us. But now, after that, I would like to make a humble request to another eminent speaker who has also consented our appeal. And at that particular time, when we were making a request to him, he gladly accepted it. That's why we have no such words, only to extend for him for our part of expressing gratitude. So now we would also go into the next session. Our another eminent speaker, Dr. Papi Mole, who is also present among us. Just he has his attachment as a visiting faculty, Kondashri University, but actually he has been serving over the years as an assistant professor, B.R. Ambedkar College. Now we are actually looking for this physical presentation for which you have come over here, not only our learners, but also here the other learners from the nearby colleges, the faculty members from the extreme nearby colleges who has come to join us, who have expressed their intention only to make this seminar a resounding success. I would like to ask our students as well as all others that listen to Dr. Bapi Mole very carefully. He is too much enthusiastic and scholastic as well. He knows how to just represent something before the audience with all sorts of attraction. I do believe that you will also listen to him very carefully. Thank you, please, Dr. Bapi Mole. I would also hand over this session on to him. Please.
Thank you everybody. Before I start my discussion on the topic that you know probably, as our keynote speaker has already grounded the stage with a very nice introduction on Indian writing in English. And I will focus on the select writings, Indian writing in English, from a particular perspective. Okay? And that's why the tentative title that I have selected for my speech, for my talk, that is questioning the narrative of human exceptionalism, recalibrating the select Indian writing in English from eco-critical perspective. Now, but before I start this particular session, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Professor Mantu Dash, Principal, Natal Rabindra Shatavarshini Mahavidyalaya. I would like to express my thanks to Mr. Lokikant Roy, Head of the Department of English of this college. I would also like to thank the entire department, Prashant Sarkar sir, Songita Mondik madam, Ambika Prasad Mondikra, Ullam Patnaik, P.R. Shamanto Jana, for their constant effort to organize this national seminar on Indian writing in English, interdisciplinary perspectives. So, as you know, the title of this seminar, interdisciplinary, and today I am going to speak on a particular subject which is interdisciplinary in its approach, that is eco-critical perspective. Why eco-critical perspective? What is the function of this particular perspective? Why this perspective is important? Because these questions are very important. Why? Because why do we study feminism, gender studies, LGBTs, diasporic identities, diasporic studies, post-colonial studies, deconstruction, post-structuralism, and all these things? Why? Because these things are important, these things are relevant for our society. I would like to quote a section from an essay written by Devita. Definitely we are discussing on India writing in English. And the perspective, that is eco-criticism, this is, it was originated in America. But I will try to focus on the notion that how this perspective was there before the very emergence of this particular theoretical school. Right? If you read the essay, who wrote the essay? Derrida. Have you heard the name of Derrida? Right? Yes, sir. Jacques Derrida. And the essay, that is Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences. And in that essay, in the very beginning, he cited a quotation from Montaigne. What was the quotation? I quote. Please try to understand. We need to interpret interpretation more than to interpret things. Right? So what we need to do is to interpret interpretation more than to interpret things. So how this particular statement is relevant for our society? How? What is interpretation? Interpretation means our perspective, our analysis, our way of looking at a particular thing of our society that needs to be reinterpreted. So interpretation needs to be reinterpreted, realigned, rethinking. So this particular notion is very important. Why? Because the existing structure of the society needs to be questioned if it fails to provide what? If it fails to provide equality, liberty, and of course fraternity and other things. If we think from the perspective of gender, then it is gender studies, feminism. If we talk from the perspective of country, then it is definitely post-colonial studies and all these things, oppression, subjugation, right? Why I mentioned this particular statement? Because ego-criticism and the writings, Indian writing in English that I have selected for my talk is basically a perspective that suffers what? The dualistic framework of considering one thing as superior and another or the rest of the others as inferior or marginal. You know the concept of dualism? Who invented? Who coined that particular? Who is responsible for popularizing this particular term, dualism? René Descartes, right? A philosopher. René Descartes, and this concept that is dualism.
If possible, just the idea.
Right. So, dualism, what does it do? It creates the division of what? Men, women. It creates the division of Western, non-Western. For the case of post-colonial studies, it creates the division of the white and the black, right? And of the same way, it creates the division of nature and culture. What did I say? Nature and culture, human and non-human. Right? So the very identity of human is very problematic. Who are considered as human and who are not? What are the qualities that you should have in order to be a human? Right? Are you getting my point? What are the qualities that you should have in order to be a human? Should I think from the perspective of human? If I think from the perspective of human, what will be for the case of non-human? This is the fundamental question that we have to reconsider. Right? This is the fundamental question that we have to reconsider. For example, if we say, same tree, same life. Right? It's a very famous statement. You can easily find it whenever you are coming to the college and you are returning from the college to your home. Right? Same tree, same life. Whose life? For whom the trees should be saved? For whose life the trees are? The trees should be saved. For whom? Is it for human? Yes, we are thinking from the perspective of what? We are thinking from the perspective of human. Whenever we are discussing anything related to non-human, right? And this perspective is very problematic and which is basically described as what? Anthropocentrism. What? Anthropocentrism. As we know that Derrida has already questioned the very notion of center. Centric. What centric? Human centric. If I think that the trees are there for the sake of human to provide oxygen, if I think that the non-human they exist in the world for the sake of fulfilling the requirements of human, then we are again doing the same mistake of considering non-human nature as instrumental. Instrumental. What did I say? Instrumental. And what is the opposite of instrument? Instrumental. Intrinsic. Value of its own. You are here, you exist for the sake of your own. The trees that exist in this world for the sake of its own, not for the sake of fulfilling the requirements of human. This notion, this perspective needs to be incorporated in order to question, in order to raise our voice against what? This anthropocentric bias of considering non-human as instrumental and human as superior, central, right? Subject, authority, as it is for the case of postcolonial studies, white supremacy, white man's burden, right? As it is for the case of other studies, for example, post-humanities, for example, memory studies, for example, diaspora studies. Everywhere you can see this dichotomy, this dualistic framework, this division of what? This division of what? For example, from the perspective of gender, it is men, women. From the perspective of race, Eastern, Western, and so on and so on. So one thing that I have introduced so far through my discussion, what anthropocentrism is. Now the question is, what is the function of this particular school of theory, school of thought? That is eco-criticism. Eco-criticism, this is not my definition, that I am quoting from a particular book which is written by Lord Felty, and the name of the book is Ego-Criticism Reader. And the first chapter, introduction, that is literary studies. Please try to understand. Literary studies in an age of environmental crisis. Literary studies in an age of environmental crisis. And in that particular essay, Lord Felty argues that ego-criticism is an interdisciplinary approach. Just as feminism, two important critical schools that she referred by defining this particular school of thought. Number one, feminism, feminist school of thought. Number two, Marxism. We know what does the feminist school of thought do. We know the agenda of Marxist critical thought. What does the feminist critical thought do? It raises question against what? Patriarchal bias? Yes, patriarchal bias of considering man as supreme at the center and the women at the margin. And for the case of Marxism, it raises question against what? Capitalism, right? Capitalism, and those who are working class, how they are alienated from the work that they have produced. Right? In the same way, as Lord Felty defined, just like feminism, just like Marxism, ego-criticism tries to raise an art-centric approach. What is art-centric, not human-centric? This particular concept that we have to understand in order to justify the writings that I have selected for my talk, that how Indian writing in English, long before the development of this critical thought like ego-criticism, green studies, post-humanism, and all these things we are discussing right now. Because if we want to critique a particular school of thought, we have to know it. Without knowing that particular school of thought, you cannot critique properly. You cannot raise your question. Now how these powerful articulations from the end of India raises this vital issue of what? This notion of anthropocentrism that is responsible, primarily responsible for the division of the human and the non-human. How we can move from this anthropocentric bias to art-centric approach in order to justify the intrinsic value. Intrinsic value, this particular term I have coined 3 times. Why intrinsic value? What is intrinsic value? Value of its own. Value for the sake of its own. This thing exists for the sake of its own. If we think in a very romantic way that this tree is there in order to beautify this particular place, again, this is again from the perspective of human. So they should live, they should exist, they should flourish according to their own way. We the human should understand that we are not the superior, we are not the master, right? Because the concept of master is basically, if we talk about this master-slave, right? You know the simple term master-slave? Who is the supreme? Master or slave? Master. snake, they are at the bottom of the ladder, right? They are at the bottom of the ladder. So this master-slave relationship too, as a part of the entire biosphere. So we are part as Barry Palmer, an important philosopher. In his first law of ecology, why? Everything is connected to everything else. It's a very simple sentence. Right? I repeat. Everything is connected to everything else. If I accept this particular statement that everything is connected to everything else, we cannot say that one part is superior and the other is inferior. We cannot say that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Right? Animal form? All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. What is this? This is actually a justification for the sake of what? For the sake of exploiting a particular entity, for the benefit of the policy makers. If we study the historical roots of our ecological crisis, what did I say? Historical roots of our ecological crisis, we can see how Christianity, please try to understand, Christianity, not Buddhism, not Upanishad and other Indian philosophies. No one will get the statement like this, I quote. This is a quotation from Bible, book of Genesis. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, to rule. Right? That means to dominate, to exploit, to use according to our way, so that we can fulfill our greed, not need. So whenever we are discussing on eco-criticism and Indian writing in English, one thing that we need to keep in our mind, there is a difference between need and greed. Vital needs, because the eco-critics and of course the Indian philosophies, they do not advocate the notion of greed, but they think that exploitation or killing of animals for the sake of life is justified, but killing of animals for the sake of capital, for fulfilling your greed, is not justified, should not be justified. So here you can see, to rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air. So where? This is not my statement. I am not here to say all these things. This is a statement that you can get easily if you type in your Google. You will get this quotation, right? This is from the book of Genesis, and where it is claimed that God said, let us make man in our image. That means association of God with human. That means likeness, similarity. That's why we tend to create God according to our image. That's why we exclude the non-human world, the entire biosphere as other. Right? So to rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the life that are all over the earth itself and every creature that crawls upon it. So God created man in his own image, the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. So God created human being just like that pyramidal structure. Pyramidal structure. Pyramid. You know the shape of pyramid. If we discuss critically in our domain, in literary and cultural studies, then definitely this pyramidal structure connotes what? Connotes what? Justification of one entity as superior and another entity as inferior. Right? Feudalism. If you study history, then definitely you will get this particular movement. Feudalism. This feudalistic, this pyramidal structure, where God is at the center, and then the human being, God created man in His own image, and He provides the certificate to human to rule over the fish of the sea and all the creatures. So, Christianity, and of course, this particular, on the basis of this particular statement that we have got here, justifies that this particular religion somehow responsible for what? For the formation of what? This notion of anthropocentrism. Anthropocentrism, human-centric world. Because everything is created for the sake of human. They have justified. And this justification creates the binary, creates the dualistic framework of considering human as separate from the rest of the other entities of our biosphere. Right? Another important thing that I like to refer, then I will point out some textual references so that we can justify how Indian writing in English successfully or in a very skillful manner subverts this anthropocentric bias of the division of human and the non-human. And at the same time, how they advocated for what? Intrinsic, for the philosophy of intrinsic value that considers all living entities, they have their own right to exist, to flourish. Now I'd like to refer one important thinker. He is basically from the discipline of history. Michel Foucault. You know the name? Michel Foucault? Michel Foucault, in the concluding paragraph of what I will refer, why I am referring this text, in order to justify how this concept of man came into being. Right? Are you getting my point? I am not referring the text for the sake of referring the text, rather to justify how this concept emerged and how this concept is questioned by the school of thought, and how this notion has been supported from the end of writers from India. I quote, this is from The Order of Things, which was published in 1966. a change in the fundamental arrangement of knowledge. As the archaeology of our thought easily shows, man is an invention of recent date. Man is an invention. As you know, you are aware about structuralism, post-structuralism, right? If we talk about structuralism, then definitely one thing that will come to our head: nothing can exist in this world. Everything gets its identity in relation to something else, and the relationship between the signifier and the signified, that is artifact. There is no natural connection between the signifier and the signified. And the name which is written here, Robin Morley, and the man who is present in front of you may not be the same man, right? It is not natural, rather it is constructed. It is constructed. This construction. So man is not a natural identity, rather it is construction. If there is a possibility of construction, definitely there is a possibility of deconstruction. Right? So man is an invention of recent date. If those elements were to disappear as they appear, if some events were to cause them to crumble as the ground of classical thought did at the end of 19th century, then one can certainly wager that man would be erased. Means the concept of man is problematic, that I have already referred in the very beginning of my talk. So the concept of man will be blurred, will be erased. If we talk about what? Other entities of the entire biosphere. Right? Because one thing gets its identity, one thing gets identified in relation to something else. And if you think you are the master, then definitely it is wrong, because your mastery depends on others. Right? So this is an important thing that you have to keep in our mind. And another thing that I would like to refer, that is the part of environmental utility studies. Then I will focus on the text. And then I will learn from you, because this is an introduction, right? So I will learn from you whether the text that I will refer in this discussion actually justifies the argument that I have developed, right? In 1992, at the annual meeting of Western Literature Association, a new association for the study of literature and environment, ASLE, was formed with Scott Slovic elected first president, and ASLE's mission to promote the exchange of ideas and information pertaining to literature that consider the relationship between human beings and the natural world. So the relationship between human beings and natural world. And of course, Grotfeldy, that I have referred in the very beginning of my talk, says, what then is eco-criticism? Simply put, eco-criticism is the study of the relationship between literature and the physical environment. The relationship between what? Literature and the physical environment. Whether they are separate or they are interacting with each other. Just as feminist criticism examines language and literature from a gender-conscious perspective, and Marxist criticism brings an awareness of moods of production and economic class to its reading of text. Eco-criticism takes an art-centered approach to literary studies, as I have already referred. So, what eco-criticism is? ecofeudalism is an interdisciplinary approach that tries to explore the relationship between literature and environment, right? To give a possible solution to the environmental crisis that we are facing right now. Now I am coming to the next part of my discussion, the text that I have selected. Though you may not explore this text, but I will quote the text, and it's a very lucid articulation, because these texts are from an important writer, Rustin Bond, and the text that I would like to focus in order to justify my argument how this notion of anthropocentrism can be subverted in order to show, in order to foreground the relationship between what? Human and the non-human. And at the same time, how this text justifies the notion of intrinsic value, which is very crucial for the harmonious coexistence between this particular range, and that by living here for so long, I am able to claim a relationship with peace. What kind of statement is this? A relationship with peace. We know human relation, right? We know human relation. But here, the writer articulates that I have become a part of the mountain, and I have become a part of trees. I am able to claim a relationship with the trees, wild flowers. Even the rocks that are an integral part of the rocks. Yesterday at twilight, when I passed beneath a canopy of oak leaves, I felt that I was a part of the forest. So if you can think in this way, that yes, I am part of this entire environment. As it is for the case of gender studies, as it is for the case of postcolonial studies, as it is for the case of other studies, when we see that basically there is what? There is the question of subversion. Why this subversion is needed? This subversion is needed for the sake of what? For the sake of blurring the division of what? Poor and the rich. Blurring the division of the black and the white. Blurring the division of what? European, non-European, right? Blurring the division of able or disabled, disability studies, right? So these are very important. So I feel that I was a part of the forest. If you think that I am part of the forest, then definitely there is no question of separating human from the non-human, right? I am part of the forest. It's a very, very powerful line. I put out my hand and touched the bark of an old tree. As I turned away, its leaves brushed against my face as if to acknowledge me. Right? If you consider that the trees of the non-human or the entire biosphere, they are part of, I am part of it, then definitely we will get that sense from their end also. And the section that I like to refer in order to justify my argument how this anthropocentric bias is questioned by the writer Copperfield in the Jungle. I quote, grandfather never hunted wild animals. He could not understand the pleasure of some people obtained from killing the creatures of our forest. Birds and animals, he felt, had as much right to live as humans. It's a very significant statement. It's a very significant statement because there lies the question of intrinsic value that I have referred while discussing that theoretical schooling criticism as well as deep ecology. You need to understand what deep ecology is, but if you understand the core concept of intrinsic value, value of its own, value for the sake of its own, value in itself, value in thyself, these concepts are very important to blur the division of the human and the non-human. As I have already referred, that eco-criticism is not a completely different school of thought because it has its association with feminist school of thought, it has its association with Marxist literary thought. Why? Because just like Marxism, just like feminism, it tries to raise question against anthropocentrism. As it is for the case of Marxism, it raises question against capitalism. Right? So you can see, birds and animals he felt had as much right to live as human intrinsically. So how? Without incorporating this particular school of thought, they apply the notion of intrinsic value. Right? So maybe eco-criticism is a theoretical school which was originated in America with that particular conference, right? Association for the Study of Literature and Environment, and then their journal interdisciplinary again. Because the title is very significant, interdisciplinary studies of literature and environment. But the thing that we are discussing right now, the text that we are referring right now, it complies, it foregrounds all those issues which are discussed by the Western thinkers like Lord Fifty, Harold Bloom, and others. Arne Nice, George Session, right? As much right to live as human, there was a justification in killing for food. Most animals did, but none at all in killing just for the fun to eat. Because I have already referred two important topics. Vital needs, right? Vital needs and greed. So vital needs, this is the cycle that will go on for the sake of our existence, for the sake of maintaining that entire ecosystem, but not for the sake of capital gain, capitalism. A poem that I like to refer, written by Ruskin Bond, Firefly in my room. I quote, last night as I lay sleepless in the summer dark, with window open to invite a breeze, softly a firefly flew in. A friendly presence. Please understand, friendly presence. But what we do usually, if we see that there is a firefly in my room, we try to kill it. But here in this particular poem, the writer says a friendly presence, this association of was not happy, but he is now happy with the presence of that firefly, with the presence of that non-human, with the presence of that insect. And after it had gone, I left the window away, just in case it should be done. It should return. So this association, this relationship that I have referred by mentioning the definition of Hippocrates was referred by defined by Lord Fleming in that particular book, Literary Studies in an Age of Environmental Crisis, in that particular chapter of that book. Another very significant poem that I would like to refer, and I would like to know from you. I would like to get your interpretation. I quote, this is a poem, and the name of the poem, the title of the poem is The Owl. The Owl. We have conceptions about this particular bird. Misconception, maybe. And what the writer says? The author writes, his cry, which the cry of the owl, right? His cry is mellow, much softer than a peacock's call. Please try to understand. Because if I want to justify this argument, I must refer the philosopher Arne. Actually, he was on his way to a particular place, and they were discussing about what to stop. And his friends told Arne that they should stop at a particular place, which should be beautiful. But Nye says that he prefers to live in a place where the trees are without leaves. Crude trees. Because if you discuss about romantic poets, because if you read, if you pursue research in this particular field, definitely you have to read the text, romantic ecology. Romantic ecology. So romantic ecology and the ecology and the intrinsic value and the subversion of anthropocentrism, this art-centric approach is different. Because daffodil should not be your discussion. You should discuss about other nameless. Definitely they have their names, but we don't know them because they are not canonical birds. They are not canonical flowers, and so on and so forth. That we need to reconsider. So here you can see peacock. Peacock is the national bird. Owl, national bird. No. The writer says his cry is mellow. His cry means the cry of the owl. Much softer. He is comparing the cry of owl to that of the peacock. Considering the cry of the owl as softer, much softer than a peacock's song. You can imagine, it's a subversion that I have already referred. Subversion of this concept of considering one particular entity as superior, another one inferior. Here lies the question of species. Because we categorize them for the sake of our benefit, for the sake of getting some benefit out of it. Why then this fear of owls? Why? Can you find out? Calling in the night, if men must speak, we human, we have the right to speak, to raise our voice. Why not for the case of owl? Right? So calling in the night, if wind must speak, then owls must hoot. Right? Again, it's a very strong argument regarding what? Regarding or against the concept of anthropocentrism. This human-centric bias of considering one entity as superior, or this speciesist notion of considering all species as superior to others. Right? This concept needs to be reconstructed, redefined, realigned. Then owls must hoot. They have the right, again, the concept of right. As I have already referred by discussing intrinsic value, right? Intrinsic value means value for the sake of its own. They have the right. On me, it costs no spell. কোনো খারাপ কিছু আমার জন্য পেঁচা রাখলে খারাপ হয়ে যাবে no. Rather, it seems to cry, the night is good, all is well, all is well. Again, you can see the traditional concept regarding the hooting of owl is somehow questioned by the writer in order to justify what? In order to question this notion of human exceptionalism, so as to justify the intrinsic value of the non-human. Right? The last text that I like to refer here, because this is very significant for our time. This is basically from the text Rain in the Mountain, Notes from the Himalayas. I quote, we are equipped with legs. We have legs. We are using legs in order to move from one place to another, right? We are equipped with legs for the purpose of walking. Right? We know. As more and more people grow dependent on their cars, because this shift from what? This human autonomy, this human exceptionalism creates, that I have already referred, the division of what? The human and the non-human. This technology, this development, without considering its effect on the entire ecosystem. So very significant. It raises this vital question. Long before the development of this thought like deep ecology, speciesism, animal studies, and so on and so forth. So as more and more people grow dependent on their cars, a new species of humans will evolve. Around the turn of the 22nd century, I can see legless, please try to understand, I can see legless human beings born. Legless human beings born. By then, of course, there will be flying wheelchairs. Right? So this is very significant, because the text that I have referred justifies what that I have referred: the subversion of human autonomy, subversion of human exceptionalism, subversion of this dualistic framework as it is theorized by René Descartes, this division of the mind and the body, this division of the nature and the culture, this division of the human and the non-human. And of course, at the same time, at the time of subversion of this human autonomy, human exceptionalism, this anthropocentric bias, we need to incorporate another idea by displaying what instrumental value for the sake of incorporating, for the sake of embracing what intrinsic value that promotes the harmonious coexistence between man and nature. And I'd like to conclude my discussion with a quote from a particular thinker, Western. And this particular statement is very significant. It, in a very candid manner, it justifies the ethical point that we have to keep in our mind in order to successfully dispel the notion of anthropocentric bias. I quote, we are facing, please consider, we are facing a global crisis today, not because of how ecosystem functions, but rather because of how our ethical system functions. This ethical function is very important. That's why deep ecology, eco-criticism, these may be categorized under environmental ethics. Environmental ethics. Getting through the crisis requires understanding our effect of impact on nature as precisely as possible, but even more, it requires understanding those ethical systems, using that understanding to reform them. Reform them means again, that I have already referred in the very beginning of my talk. We need to interpretation more than to interpret things. So in order to reform this particular perspective, this particular worldview, this existing worldview of considering ourselves as superior, we have to change our perspective. We have to shift from this instrumental perspective of considering all entities to the intrinsic value of all entities, of all living and non-living entities of the entire world. So with this, I would like to conclude my talk. So thank you once again the entire department for organizing this national seminar on Indian writing in English, interdisciplinary perspectives. And now I'd like to know from the students whether they have any questions, whether they have anything to ask, whether they want to share their ideas with me. Because I am here to speak all these things, I know everything. That does not mean that I am speaking on this particular subject, that does not mean that my idea is ultimate. So you have your own version, you have your own perspective. You may share your idea so that we can think from different perspectives. Thank you.
The illustration that I want to give, after that, Fabian will join. I have something to say that he has concluded, Dr. Papan Malik concluded with a quotation. I want to start with another quotation, that is Bengali quotation, point my ass. পৃথিবীটা তোমার বাবার একার না, পৃথিবীটা তোমার বাবার একার না, এখানে সবাই একই সঙ্গে থাকবো, সে মানুষ হোক, পশু হোক, পাখি হোক, গাছপালা হোক, হাওয়া বাতাস যা কিছু হোক। ক্লিয়ার? আচ্ছা, he was saying about the word, the concept eco-criticism. Is it clear to you? Eco-criticism means, and so many times he has used the word intrinsic value. Intrinsic value means which gives the man or the human being the higher position. So just think over it and find out that is it applicable to the study of Gulliver's Travel? Is it applicable to the study of Titan Abbey, where the poet give emphasis to the nature, the sensation sweet, unremembered act of kindness and of love, and blessed mood. So, I just want to say that this Western culture, very villainous culture. Think about antivirus. You have heard about the software, about the functioning of antivirus. First, they pin virus. After that, they are selling antivirus. The same thing. They have created so many movements, so many concepts like anthropocentrism, and so many concepts that the fundamental basis is binary and division. And after that, they are selling their movement. So I want to say that our culture, Hinduism, that is much more liberal. We respect the ecosystem. We have the concept of Brahmando. We respect the Brahmando, that means the universe. So just think about the Tapovan is the place where not only a human being but beast all can live together in peace. We have the concept like Ardhanarishwar. We have the transgender character in Mahabharata, Chitrangada. So think about it, that these are not the binaries. Binary is division. So all this division, whether the patriarchy, every theorist, the basis of every theorist, like feminism, like post-structuralism, like post-colonialism, gender studies, everywhere they are supporting the hierarchy. They are making everything fluid. They are making everything equal, even. So, with a PG student, we have just visited first semester for the field survey, and we have visited the tribal areas. We have observed their rituals, their culture at first hand. They are worshipping of trees. So that is, they have their name like Manan Guru. So this Manan Guru, that is also that raised the concept of eco-criticism, like Chipko movement, Chipko Andolan. So I want to say that Dr. Bapin Molli, he has used so many words which are suitable in the academic arena, but with the student, some of the words we have missed. So that is why we are planning with the departmental teachers. We are planning to have a special class one day where we will not be giving any kind of analysis or interpretation of any words. Rather, we will give focus on the concept. So many concepts he has used. So we need to know, we need to make clear about this concept. So once again, thank you, Dr. Bapin Molli. I want to discuss another thing, that actually is my younger brother. Now it is up to MBA.
Now, we are coming towards our lunch session, but before that, whatever Prashanta has indicated, and we have come to know, from this kind of deliverance by Dr. Bapin Molli, this is actually a noble horizon which has opened, which has opened before us over the years, that we the human beings who are supposed to be the rational beings, we must have to bear our distinguished characteristics, which would also prove it to be the same. Likewise, there is another version that Dr. Bapi Malik has referred, probably you have identified, that the conception of Almighty as the creator of this universe. It is not an Indian concept. Whenever you have studied number of your academic syllabus-wise topics, you have found that the Greeks, the stalwart. In the meantime, I beg my pardon because we have got one of my bosom brothers as well, because I had such kind of acquaintance, Dr. Devan Chatterjee, very much young, jovial, rejuvenated and enthusiastic, who has just turned up Amash, and a specific purpose that we have requested, because Devan is getting busy too much with his own academic involvements as well as NAC related purposes of Champat College. But in spite of that, he has not turned down us. He has just given us a response that yes, keeping in view my busy schedule, I will definitely go to the seminar. And it is our gracious thought that we would felicitate Dr. Devan Chatterjee. I would ask our departmental girls to come forward and felicitate Dr. Devan Chatterjee from Champat College, because another important session that we are going to have after the lunch, and at that post-lunch session, the paper representation, another customary of this seminar that is going to be organized. So before that, he would also take the chair in that technical session. Girls, go ahead to felicitate Dr. Devan Chatterjee from Champat College. Devan, just accept our cordiality. Thank you. At the same time, for a long time, we have got another one from the same college. Probably you have pressed it. He was just sitting like you on your bench. He is none other Gautam Manna, the faculty of English from Champat College. We are also felicitating him. Thank you. So in course of that I was just going to intimate you that God as a super creator, after creating this universe, sometimes these conceptions were gradually changed. Already Dr. Bapi Malik has mentioned. If you would also take a look at the iconic figures among the Greek deities, you can definitely find out that there is certainly an amalgamation of human cluster along with animal cluster. Such as he was going to mention, the Greek deity as Satyr looked like half human, half goat. And he was utterly worshipped. Because these Greeks at the very beginning of the civilization, they believed that each and every teeny aspect of this ecological system, each and everything that is going to take place in this world, that is the result of some magical power. And this magical power is totally maneuvered with the existence of non-human entities, which we do not hear, because they are less significant. At one time they were treated to be the inferior one, but with the passage of time, this view has gradually changed. And now now we have come up to that particular point that whether we were studying the Romantics, the Victorians, the moderns, but apart from their representation, there is another side of this coin. And this representation must be that this new opening or new horizon of Indian writing in English that has given much importance or emphasis. That they are not trying to make anything ornamental, but in course of this ornamentation, they are equally trying to give importance towards the insignificant aspects which have the equal contribution, which have the equal importance in creating this universe a balanced system. So all the very things, they are part and parcel of this system. That is the core of his deliverance. So we are definitely enlightened hearing Dr. Bapin Molli, and in future we will also look for his presence only to make something like that.
I will take a small time. I would like to call Mr. Pullar Patanayak, Mr. Omika Prasad Nandigrari, Mrs. P. Arishamanta Jana, Mr. Songita Malik on the stage, and few different links in the secretary. It is for the photo.
Thank you all for this brief felicitation. Now we will go for the lunch session. And just after this lunch session, we will come back to another significant session that will be held as the paper representation. The scholarly research scholars, other academic faculty, they would also try to enrich you with their papers. So please stay with us. Thank you.
We have rejoined the technical session. Another technical session is going forward in that. So this particular session is going to be the paper presentation session, and this is in blended mode. So I like to ask and please to announce the name of the chair of the session, Professor Devan Chatterjee. I'm extremely sorry, Devan Banerjee.
Assistant Professor, Champion College, affiliated to Vidyasagar University, West Bengal. So, first of all, I like to hand over the microphone to Professor Banerjee. Sure.
Good afternoon all. My regards to the organizing committee of this seminar and my respect to those persons whose relentless work has made this event possible. It is an absolute honor to be here, and I am really privileged to be part of this kind of academic discussion, though I know I have missed the first half of this seminar. In this seminar, in this room, people who are going to present their paper, I welcome them all. I know it very well that for them, this is their first experience, but being a senior most person to you, being senior to you, I have an advice to all the paper presenters. Those who are experienced and those who are coming to this path for the first time. The thing is, enjoy the moment. Don't burden yourself with the thought that you may lack word, that you may lack emotion, that you may search for actual logic or argument. Don't think about this unnecessarily. The achievement happens when you start the journey. Just collect the experience, gather it, store it in your mind, and prepare for events like this. Let's talk about the modalities, because the paper presenter, there are certain rules that the paper presenter should follow. Each and every paper presenter will be given 5 minutes maximum, and then after the presentation is over, 2 more minutes will be given for the question and answer session. Okay? I have a humble request. The request is, don't whisper, don't make noise, listen minutely, and ask questions freely to clear your doubts. Because you know, if you don't ask question, it means either you have not heard the presentation or you don't understand what the person has said. That's why it is very mandatory to ask question and also to give suggestion to the paper presenter. These suggestions and questions will eventually enrich the paper presenter and encourage him to dive more deeply in the ocean of knowledge. So that is all. I will invite the paper presenter one by one. The time limit is 5 minutes. Please stick to the time, and then the question answer session will follow. I hope you will do well. Best of luck. Let's the stream get started. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, best of luck to all of you, the presenters present here through online and offline mode. First of all, I like to call upon Mr. Gautam Manna, and the title of his paper is Trauma to Terror, Cross-Border Tensions in Recent Indian English Literature. Best of luck, sir.
Very good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson and all the members of the organizing committee. To be honest, I am here today not as a faculty, not as a teacher, but as a learner like you. So don't get afraid to put questions upon the completion of our presentation. Okay, so feel free to ask questions if you have any. We have all experienced and we have been all experiencing the present scenario of the geopolitical situation that our country is facing right now. We all know that literature is a dynamic intellectual exercise. With the progress and transformation of our society, Indian English literature too has undergone several series and phases of transformation. So the year 2025 is another phase of that transformation. It is a vital call to all the young lovers of literature like you and me. We are now in a state where we can think that war is over, the conflict is over. No, the conflict is over politically, diplomatically. But as lovers of literature, as lovers of humanity, we have to feel for the suffering, we have to feel for the tension that the people sharing the border of both the nations are still under. Our government is at ease, maybe, but the people of both the nations, they are not at ease. They have been living in danger, they have been living in trauma, they have been living in fear. The fear, the terror of losing their life. Any moment, any day can be their last. So, as the young research scholars, independent researchers, dear friends, this is time for us to speak for those poor people, helpless people, who have been living there very dangerously, horribly, near the border of the nations. On the condition of the people living in the border area. More research work, more independent work should be done, more studies should be done to address, to unearth the anxiety, the suffering the people there are always in. So, through my presentation, through my intellectual exercise, I will invite all of you, my young friends, to voice your concern, to say independently what you think, what you imagine about those people. Our journey is not over. Our journey will start from here, because this seminar will give us that platform to let out our concern for those people. Thank you very much, because time is fleeting. We are running behind the time. When we have time in future, we will definitely explore some more issues in detail. Now, if you have any questions to us, you can raise. Take me as your friend. Don't take me as a teacher or faculty, but take me as a friend. You can share anything with me. Okay, Honorable Chairperson sir, since no question has been raised from the students,
Thank you, Gautam, for your wonderful.
idea was clear to you or not? Were you able to understand my point? If you understand, then my purpose of coming here is fulfilled. Okay? So please write something. Express yourself. Unloosen the concern that you two were sharing. Identify yourself with the condition that the people there are living. So that will be our main motive. Literature is just not an aesthetic exercise. It has its part to feel.
Willing to use any method for independence. Their conflicting perspectives create both political and personal tension. What strikes me most, how Eckhart does not simply support or criticize nationalism, but shows its complexity. My research reveals three key insights. First, the novel portrays nationalism as both liberating and dangerous. For Nicola, it provides an exciting connection for the wider world, viewing her traditional home life. Yet, for some is manipulation and the violence that erupts. Take out one side of nationalism darker side. state. The conflict between character represents the larger debate in India in that time. Should freedom be gained through peace and ethics or through aggressive action? Third, the title The Home and the World reflects Taylor's belief that personal values and politics cannot be separated. When Bimala states
This autobiography, as before her marriage, her father criticizes her, and after her marriage, her husband also criticizes her. So, Urmila Bhai is nominated very much.
Thank you, thank you. It's a wonderful defense. Thank you.
And doctor students. My name is Krishna Bhai. I am a student of second semester PG English. The title of my paper is Comic Elements in Arvinara, Swami and Friends, a study in innocence and humor. In Arvinara's novel Swami and Friends, comedy comes from seeing the world through 10 years old Swaminathan's eyes in colonial India. The story follows Swami's school life, friendship and adventures, including a cricket match and his brief running away from his home. What fascinates me is how Narayan creates humor that works on multiple levels. Through my research, I have discovered three main sources of comedy in the novel. First, Swami's exaggerated perception turns ordinary situations into dramatic events. Monday morning becomes catastrophic and teachers transform into monsters with fire eyes and fearsome canes. This gap between adult reality and childish perception creates natural humor. Second, authority figures become comically deflated when seen through a child's eyes. When Swami challenges his spiritual teachers about religious differences or pretends to be sick to avoid school, we see what theorists call carnivalesque humor, where established hierarchies are temporarily turned upside down. Third, misunderstanding creates situational comedy throughout the novel. The confusion about the cricket match day and Swami's elaborate excuses to avoid homework generate humor through what philosopher Henry Bergson called mechanical inelasticity, rigidly sticking to training strategies. I have found that while the comedy appears lighthearted, it serves deeper purpose, revealing colonial education's absurdities and the universal experience of childhood. The novel's ending at the temptation with Swami giving his departing friend Raja a book he himself cannot read blends comedy with touching poignancy in a way that captures the bittersweet nature of growing up. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna. R.K. Nadan never gets old. As his writing, Swami and his friends. What you have said is truly heart-touching. Heart-touching because this brings us back to the place when we read the novel. I think all my colleagues are agree to that fact. Humor is a very subtle and a dangerous thing. And we often associate humor with innocence and wit with experience. Why have you associated humor with innocence? I know that we associate humor with innocence, but what is your logic of attaching these two words in a single bracket? I hope you have understood my question.
Yes, sir. But I did not read very much, so I am not.
Okay. Don't worry. You have come this far. That's a great achievement. Thank you.
Well, the next presenter is Anish Gambur. The title of his paper is Where Innocence Encounters Empire, Society and Politics in R.K. Narayan's Swami and Friends. Anish, you did not submit the abstract. You may submit now if you have. Anis Ganguly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, dignitaries present here and my fellow mates. Today I am feeling very blessed to be standing here and welcoming you all. It's an honor to stand before you and present my paper. The topic that I choose for my paper presentation is Swami and His Friends by R. The title that I give in my paper is Where Innocence Encounters Empire, Society and Politics in R. Swami and Friends. In R. novel Swami and Friends, set in the fictional town of Malgudi during British colonial rule in 1930s India. We followed here a young boy named Swaminathan and his everyday adventures with his friends. What fascinates me most is how Narayan cleverly uses children's experience to show bigger social and political realities. My research reveals three important areas to the seemingly simple story. First, the novel sharply portrays social hierarchy through Swami's friendship. When Rajan arrives with his English biscuits and fancy clothes, we see how colonial influence created different social classes. Swami's father, a lawyer, holds a respectable position, while money comes from a wealthy family, showing the various levels in Indian society. Second, British colonial influence appears everywhere, especially in education. The Albert Mission School, with its English language focus and Western curriculum, shows how colonial system shaped young minds. When Swami participates in burning foreign clothes, and that is not fully understanding why, it reflects how even children were brought up in political movements. Third, the story captures a nation in transition. Characters like Shankar, who participates in independent protests that represent growing nationalist sentiments. Swami's world is disrupted by political rallies and discussion about Swaraj, that means self-rule, showing how independence movement affected everyday life during British colonization in India. Through a child's innocent perspective, R.K. Narayan brilliantly reveals a society on the brink of transformation, making this more than just a childhood tale. It's a window into a crucial period in Indian history. Thank you so much.
It's really encouraging, Olives, that in such a young age you have delivered such a good lecture. Thank you. In the conclusion of your paper, you have written that this novel is a child's eye on a changing world. And for a child and to a child, friends are important. Friends are our accompaniment, friends are our supporter, friends are our confidants. But sometimes friends also teach us. They become the scene, they become the face of our pain, they give us pain. Can you cite one or two examples where the friend no longer remain friend but become pain? Can you give one or two such examples from the novel?
When Swami entered the school and when he saw the protest movement and then his friend when his friend's father became a police officer when
Okay, you may say this in Bengali also. Don't be ashamed of using Bengali words. Okay?
যখন হচ্ছে ওকে ধরে নিয়ে যাচ্ছিল ওর বাবা ফ্রেন্ডের বাবা তো ফ্রেন্ড হচ্ছে ওকে বাঁচানোর জন্য চেষ্টা করেছে এবং যখন যে ফ্রেন্ডকে ক্রিকেট যে সিচুয়েশনগুলো বর্ণনা করা হয়েছে, বন্ধুরা কিভাবে একে অপরের পাশে দাঁড়ায়, এটা নন অনলি চাইল্ডহুড ফেজ, এটার মধ্যে দিয়ে অনেক বার্তা আছে, আরো অনেক কিছু আছে যেটা হয়তো আরো পরে অ্যানালাইসিস করে আমি বুঝতে পারবো। যেটা আমি যতটুকু করেছি তার মধ্যে এইটুকু বোঝা গেছে যে পলিটিক্স, সোশ্যাল, ফ্রেন্ডশিপ সব কিছু মিলিয়ে মিশিয়ে একটা আর্টিনাল তার একটা ধারণের মধ্যে দিয়ে কে করেছে।
So it's a multi-layered story.
হ্যাঁ,
Okay, thank you, thank you.
thank you everyone for our patient listener. Thank you.
On behalf of Department of Education, Madam University of the Varsity Mahavidyalaya, we like to congratulate all the presenters and the next candidate is Subhajit Das. The title of his paper is When Identity Breaks Down, Christopher's Abject in Tagore's Home and the World. Subhajit Das.
Morning everyone. Thank you sir giving me for this opportunity. My respect to the principal sir, to the president sir, to the professor and last to the student. Myself Subhajit Das. Now I am actually working at the University Mountain. The title of my paper is When Identity Breaks Down, GRSM in Dominance Because Command Over. Dominance Because Command Over. The story of different human are traditional fight, thinking and progressive husband and showing a charismatic individual who discuss their lives during Indian service moment. What is interesting most about this story is how it can be understood through India Festival's concept that object. In this book, hours of power can be objects in 1980. Object is anything that breaks down boundaries and makes us feel both attracted and disgusted at the same time. That threatens of our senses of who we are.
And my dear students from my college and from I think Childbirth College and other colleges. At first, I just want to mention one thing, but with permission, then I'll start my paper. That today is a very special day for me because I'm so surprisingly and I'm feeling so proud for all students present here. That all of you are presenting your papers very excellent, and really I think that it is the great achievement not for all of you but as a teacher for all of us. So I must congratulate all of you for your next future life. Thank you so much. Hi. The title of my paper, I choose Misogyny and Misandry, Class of Society. Now, I have no time, but in this short period, I must express or explain the two concepts which we practice in our daily life as a student of philosophy. I think this is a socio-ethical problem to practice these two words by many sentences. Misogyny is the term which means hatred of or contempt for or prejudice against women. Let's take an example. The girl is very fatty. The nose is very long. You are very sick. In our day-to-day life, we are every day, I think, we are speaking like this. So, this is, I think, an insult of whenever we face this type of languages.